Good evening. I'd like to call this April 22nd regular Board of Ed meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to go straight to public comment because I don't see our student council president right now. So does anyone have any public comment? All speakers will properly identify themselves, a maximum of a 30-minute period, limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No district employee or student may be commented upon or identified by name or situation. Questions asked by the public will be referred to the appropriate staff member for a reply at a later time or date, and questions requiring investigations will be referred to the superintendent for consideration and later response. All written statements shall be given to the district clerk.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Rabinowitz, and I'm here today to represent the Citizens Finance Committee. I have been a volunteer on the school district Citizens Finance Committee for several years, even before my children were old enough to attend the schools within the district. And additionally, I serve as a member on the Board of Trustees of SEF, the Somers Education Foundation. I would like to take a few minutes to provide information on the purpose of the Citizens Finance Committee and our involvement in this year's budget, specifically as it relates to the capital project that is on the ballot this year. Excuse me. As you know, the commitment to excellence in education requires thoughtful financial planning. Our committee has met over 5 times this year to discuss the budget and provide feedback to the superintendent. The dialogue is always open and interactive, and Harry and his team are very receptive to our feedback. We take our role seriously, understanding that we represent the entire Somers community. The committee comprises board members and Somers residents like myself who have financial experience and expertise. Personally, I'm a partner at a global CPA firm, and we have many other individuals with the requisite knowledge to provide meaningful feedback to the district. The ultimate goal for the district is to provide a nurturing environment where every student thrives academically, socially, and emotionally. However, we must balance the financial impact on the community and ensure that the district is held fiscally responsible. As the district adapts to changing circumstances, whether due to high inflationary periods, the necessity for a substantial capital project to address infrastructure requirements and enhancements, or other unforeseen events, they must align the budget with these goals. In our various meetings with the team, we have reviewed historical data, summary of project costs for the capital project, scrutinized all types of expenses, and identify areas where the district can optimize resources. We have also discussed potential shifts in the timing of capital projects and the impact of any delay on future purchasing power. This year, we specifically reviewed all of the documents supporting the capital project, including information about the funding sources, key goals, and major project components. We discussed the key phases of the project and the need to enhance safety, upgrade instructional spaces, and modernize the essential infrastructure across all 4 schools in the district. The district is being very proactive in taking the necessary steps to reduce costs and increase funding to offset the impact of such capital expenditures and other inflationary challenges and tax settlements. It is clear from these meetings that the district prioritizes long-term financial stability, the impact on the tax burden for its citizens, and the necessity for prudent reserves. For instance, it was essential for the district to ensure that the debt service payments remained consistent year over year. The budget ensured that the timing would allow a transition from the old bond project payments to the new bond project payments to be tax neutral, so there would be no increase to resident taxes specifically related to this project. While the environment is challenging and benefit costs have increased at an unprecedented rate in the past few years, historical budgets have been approximately $2.6 million under the maximum tax cap levy to minimize the impact on the community. Our budget represents more than just financial figures. It embodies our dedication to educational excellence. Having been actively involved in the committee over the past few years, I'm confident that decisions made by the superintendent, Chris, and their team demonstrate their commitment to fostering our student growth while thoughtfully considering the financial implications for our community. Congratulations to the superintendent and Chris on another closing of another budget cycle and working through the capital project. Thank you for your time and dedication to the district and our students.
Thank you, Rachel. Anybody else have public comment? Okay. Then we will now loop back to our Somers High School Student Council representative, Jimmy Gallivan.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'd like to provide some updates on things that are happening in the high school and around the district. So in terms of student life, the Science National Honor Society earlier this month hosted a science convention here at the middle school where high school students in various different science-related classes and clubs and programs were able to meet with some of the middle schoolers, present about their activities, and sort of teach the middle schoolers about what things they can get involved in at the high school. Additionally, the district-wide Festival of the Arts is happening this May 1st at 7 p.m. It'll be a chance for students across the district to showcase their work in art and the skills that they've learned. Additionally, Student Council is currently in the midst of organizing a Staff Appreciation Week at the high school. This includes staff t-shirts and a variety of other activities we're currently planning. And just to show our appreciation for the staff members and the incredible work that they do at our school. Additionally, the counseling department at SHS recently hosted mock college interviews for juniors, allowing juniors who are preparing for the college admissions cycle next year to practice their interview skills with real admissions officers and to get feedback from them as well. Additionally, the SHS Model UN and Debate Club took a trip to the UN headquarters down in New York City earlier this month. They got to take a tour and learn about the history of the UN, a bit about diplomacy, so they can apply it in their time in Model UN competitions and other activities. And Student Council also hosted a senior citizens brunch earlier this month. We had roughly 40 seniors from around the community. They came and had lunch and got to meet with a lot of the students here at the high school, and afterwards got to attend the musical company's production. And it was a great event. We got to meet with a lot of them and get to build some good connections. Additionally, later this month, our student council at the high school is going to be voting in the National Student Council elections. This is the second year that these have taken place, and candidates from all across the country are currently running, myself included, for Vice President of Advocacy on the National Student Council. And Somers will be casting its vote sometime in the next few weeks. I'd also like to share another Student Council update. We, for our at least like third or fourth year in a row, have recently been awarded a National Gold Council of Excellence status by the National Association of Student Councils. It's a form of recognition for councils who go above and beyond in their work, and student leaders who go above and beyond in their work in schools. So we were recently awarded that last month. Those are all of the updates I have for tonight, so thank you all. Sorry that I was late earlier, and have a good night.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Jimmy, and congratulations.
Congrats.
Good luck.
Yes. Okay. All right, that brings us to the central office report and our budget document.
I'm just pulling it up now. Give me 1 second. All right.
Through all of that, my device decided to do an update.
I hate when that happens because it always takes like 10,000 years.
All right, so just get right into it.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy. Tonight, we're just going to, again, go through the budget development process and then talk about the proposed budget. And then I do have some slides on updated tax levy and tax rate analysis, updated school tax example, contingent budget, and then some slides on the capital project. So, as again, we've had many budget presentations throughout the last few months. We've engaged many stakeholders over the last few months, and I do want to thank Rachel for coming up and speaking on behalf of the Citizens Finance Committee tonight. Again, it's just important to have that group and all the stakeholders that we do get the input from to help with the budget, and we do take some of the feedback back from those groups and make adjustments as necessary, because we want to put out the information the way people want to see it, and want to make sure we're putting out the information that they want to see. So again, just hearing from people and the different stakeholders is very important during the entire budget process. So we are finally, tonight is the where the Board of Ed is going to adopt the budget. So it's been, again, many months of work, and we're getting to the end here where it'll all lead to a vote on May 20th. again, I'll say it like I do every time. I love this slide where it's just showing you the annual budget needs to be balanced with our revenues and expenses, and we just have some of the higher revenues and expenses listed here. And again, a lot of this is very similar to what we had last year. There weren't too many adjustments. So again, we're looking at the budget of $113,477,113 for next year, which is about $2.6 million more than the current budget, or a 2.41% change. And then you'll see the property taxes, the tax levy is going up about 2.63% with an estimated tax rate of about 2.52%. So those were, and I'll show on the next slide, just a couple of little, there were some adjustments from the last presentation, but this is what the final budget looks like. This slide just shows you the tax levy and tax rate analysis over the last 5 years. And from some of the feedback we received from the Citizens Finance Committee, we adjusted the way to separate the tax levy and the tax rate, so you can clearly see it's a little different. So again, tax levy is 2.63, tax rate for next year is 2.52%. And what this looks like on a home assessed at $70,000 is $330, and a condo assessed at $23,000 is about $108 a year. We do like to put the little caveat on the right there that the district doesn't set the tax rate. It's dependent on the overall assessments for the town, which aren't set until the summer. So,
Right.
And
The
just like-
tax levy is encompassed to how much the money that we're raising from the public is increasing.
Correct.
So $91 million of the $113 million roughly
it's coming from
is
property
coming from
taxes.
property taxes in the town.
Yes,
And that's going up 2.63% from last year.
right. And then like last presentation, we just showed an example again of what you might see on your school tax bill. For someone that has a home assessed at $70,000, what does that mean? It doesn't mean your house is worth $70,000. So there's an equalization rate that's set by the state, and that'll kind of, you can get your full market value just by taking the assessed value divided by that equalization rate. And then you see the tax rate that's there currently for the 24-25 school year. So that $13,126.99 is showing what someone's school taxes would look like if their home was assessed at $70,000 for the current school year. So for the 25-26, you see the tax rate going up, and the estimated tax increase for the 25-26 school year is that $330. Just moving on to the contingent budget. So if the budget is not approved by the voters on May 20th, the district has a couple of options. One is they can resubmit the same budget for another vote on June 17th. They can revise the budget and submit a revised budget for vote on June 17th, or they can go straight to a contingency budget, which would be a tax levy increase of 0 from the previous year. No additional votes needed, so if they decided to do that after if it got voted down the first time, they could go right to there, or if it gets voted down a second time, then they're going to contingent budget as well.
Do you have prepared already what would be cut in that case?
Yep, so I do, and we just listed some of the potential budget cuts. If we went to a contingent budget, it's gonna be, again, we're talking $2.3 million, so unfortunately, it's going to end up being positions that are going to have to be cut. There's some equipment that's pulled out unless it's health and safety, some renovation projects. Again, we pull out a lot of that. Some coaching positions, but the bulk of it is going to come from actual positions, which is going to be cuts to either programs or, it's going to ultimately be cuts to programs.
Specific number of positions that we
On the hook,
Yeah.
if that happened. Yes, there is. I'm trying to remember
It's
how
on
many
page
it actually
13
was.
in the binder. You'll see on the PDF, you'll see the contingent budget, and it's done by category, so you can kind of compare it to what the actual budget is now, and so you can see the categories of what there are.
And again, the bulk of it,
for everybody? Is that online? For
it will
Yeah,
be.
public?
it will be.
Yep, that
Once
whole,
we adopt
yep,
it.
the public budget document will be available after this meeting. I want to say, maybe it was 8 FTE that would need to be cut. So that's kind of all I have for the actual budget itself. And then also on the ballot this year is going to be another proposition for the capital project that we spoke about many times. Again, the size of the project is $63.9 million. A lot of it, and as like Rachel said, we're looking to keep that local share cost to taxpayers neutral. I have another slide that we had at the last presentation when the architects were here to present. But then also, we'll also be utilizing about $1.8 million out of the capital reserve fund that was established a couple years ago. Again, things we're looking to address here are a lot of infrastructure upgrades, much needed, asphalt pavement, concrete sidewalk repairs, HVAC, water systems, fire alarms, as well as some academic learning environment upgrades to classrooms, auditoriums, playgrounds, some track resurfacing, field lighting, STEM labs, and art rooms. There's a lot of information. We're going to continue to put more and more information up on the website, which I did link down here so people can go to. And then there's also an email address that we established for anyone to ask questions about the capital project as well. Depending on number of questions we get there, it might just end up putting it together like a Q&A that we'll put on the website.
And just for the public, so they know that one walkthrough is tomorrow.
Yep,
And
so-
the next is in June.
Nope. So the
May,
first,
I'm sorry,
yep,
May.
first walkthrough is tomorrow at the middle school and SIS campus. So we'll start in the back at 6:30. Again, just to let people come in and have a little tour of the buildings and show them exactly kind of what we're looking to upgrade and why. As the last presentation that the architect gave, there's a lot of pictures that, again, it makes it look like our facilities are falling apart, but it's not really the case. As the architect said, they're still in very good shape. It's just time has come where there's certain things that we really need to pay attention to before they get worse. And again, we don't have $63 million in our budget to handle some of these repairs and renovations.
And I'm assuming if we handle them now, it'll prevent the problem from getting bigger in the future, and it would cost us more money.
Absolutely. The longer we wait, the more things aren't going down cost-wise either. And it could, depending on if we're talking about not addressing a roof that needs to be repaired or something like that, yes, it could cause much bigger issues down the road.
Oh, so putting lights on that turf too I think that was in the last one, but then ended up having to get cut. So
Yep,
that's
so it
back
was discussed, it was an option for the kind of athletic facility upgrade that we are just wrapping up now.
Yep.
But it did end up having to be pulled out just because, we had $7 million and that's all we could spend. And when the bids came in, they were a little bit higher than we were able to get, include that in there. So.
Yeah, no, I think because that's one of that turf that gets a lot of use, and
Yeah.
we start losing it right around October.
Yep. So, it's, in this project, we're looking to do LED, we'd be adding a couple poles there and then putting some LED lights off of one of the poles on turf 1 to aim at turf 2. And then also changing the lights on turf 1 to LED lighting as well. And then
So for the changing of those lights, they're not taking those poles down and changing
no,
the
they
whole
wouldn't be
thing,
taking
it's
the
just-
poles down.
all right.
It's just retrofitting the current lighting that's there to then switch over to LED. So this slide is kind of speaking to that, where we're trying to maintain that consistent level of debt that the district has. So this local share, and when we say local share, we mean the debt service payments that we have minus the building aid that we receive for the projects. So the green bar is kind of just signifying where we currently are in the 24-25 school year. So that blue bar is our existing local share. So that's our debt service payments minus any building aid that we receive for the projects. And we're looking just to maintain that same level of that local share with this new project. So for next year, that 25-26 and even 26-27 school year, there's a small orange bar, that'd be the new debt that's coming on. So that's some of like the bond anticipation notes that we'd be borrowing to help with some of the soft costs and whatnot. And then the big drop is in that 27-28 school year when we'd be having to pay back more of the the long-term financing.
But
and then
we'll also
20
start to get building aid back by then.
Right, so we're going to time the projects. I mean, again, a lot depends on when the state and how quickly the queue is moving. Right now, it's better than it was 2 months ago. Who knows what it's going to look like in 6 months after, when we anticipate submitting for the project. But yes, we would plan it accordingly where the new payments are then going to start when the debt's coming on again, so that local share is remaining relatively consistent, so there's not huge fluctuations. So, even though our debt payments are going to be going up compared to where they are now, it's because we're also going to be receiving the building aid on these projects, where the current project, where the debt was refinanced, we're not receiving building aid on those projects currently.
So that's why that first bar is all blue, because we don't get any building aid on that.
No, that's inclusive of building aid for
Okay.
other projects and stuff that we have. But that is, that's our net debt. So say our, that's like $4.5 million. Say our actual debt payments each year are $5.5 million. But maybe we're receiving $1 million in building aid, which is then bringing that down, that local share down to $4.5 million. But so those older projects, we're not currently receiving building aid on, but we will moving forward, and we'll structure the bonds again, so 15 years to coincide with the building aid. So 15 years from now, we won't be running into a situation where we're not receiving building aid on a project that we're still paying the debt on. Hope that was exceptionally clear to everybody. If you have any questions, you can email me at that capitalproject@somerschools.org. And again, we'll try to post as much information as we can onto the website.
And hopefully people will come out for the tours tomorrow night at 6:30 for,
Yep.
it's going to be this campus, this whole campus, so both
This whole
SIS
campus, yep.
and SMS,
And
correct?
then we're going to be sending out the next flyer probably tomorrow for the high school Primrose campus walkthrough, which will be May 13th, so the week before the budget vote. Again, still at 6:30.
Okay.
And then last slide is just public budget hearing is going to be May 6th, and then the budget vote and trustee election on May 20th here at the middle school. And the list of candidates are on that slide as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for Chris before we move on that? Okay.
No, just
No.
thank you. Yeah, it's a process through the entire year. That a lot of involvement from the community, from the district, and appreciate everyone's contributions.
It is quite the effort on everyone's behalf, so.
Okay, that brings us to reports by committee chairs and meeting liaisons, and still updating. Do you need to share? I don't know if we have any committee, we might as well save the policy for when we do the policy first read. I don't know if there's any other committee updates. The only thing I'll add is that, as we talked about, I think last time from the communications update, is that we actually have started putting there is a community questions and answer tab on the under the Board of Education section of our website now. So when things come up in public comment, or we get a lot of emails on a topic and it's something that we can actually respond to, we obviously don't respond to it at a meeting, because that's not what the purpose of our meetings are for. We're here to take the questions. We'll always research it and put the best person to get back to you. So our goal is to just close the loop, so that sometimes people have that benefit of the answer to the question that they pose at a public comment or what have you, and it won't just go to that one person. Those will start to roll out more and more as they come in. And if anyone has a question that they want answered up there, let me know, and we'll make that happen. We've been working with Nancy and Kim on it to make sure it gets up on the website. Okay. So approval of minutes. Resolved that the Board of Education, having received copies of minutes of the meetings of 3/25 and 4/8/25, hereby approves same.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this brings us to our board action section for the personnel consent agenda. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, hereby approves the attached personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
CSE, CPSE meeting recommendations. Resolved that the Board of Education, having received copies of recommendations of the meetings as listed on the attached memo, hereby approves same.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Sorry, I should probably be saying that too. Business consent agenda. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, hereby approves the attached business agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Chris, is there anything you have? I think this is just selling off of stuff, right? Of equipment?
No, so this one
Oh.
is just the award of the
Oh.
bid for lease purchase financing
time.
that we've done for decades now. It's how we purchase a lot of the instructional equipment and some of the needed infrastructure upgrades for technology over we pay it off over a couple years. And then the other items on there are just some year-end possible reserve transfers that we do each year. It just gives the authority to transfer an amount not to exceed that's listed in each of the resolutions for each of the reserves.
This is
whatever-
recommended by our auditors, right? that we
Yeah, our
do it?
auditors and our attorneys, rather than doing a transfer after the audit's complete in August, retroactive back to June 30th, they had us start doing this in the last couple of years, just to do this in advance so we can make those necessary reserves to make sure we're under or at the 4% unassigned fund balance and not over, so.
It's true. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Adoption of the 2025-2026 property tax report card. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District does hereby adopt the property tax report card in the budget for the 2025-2026 school year in the amount of $113,477,113. And be it further resolved that the date of the public vote on said 2025-26 Somers Central School District budget be set at May 20th, 2025 from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Somers Middle School.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District does hereby approve the appointment of chairperson, inspectors, and election workers for the annual meeting and election on May 20th, 2025 as per attachment. And be it further resolved that the district clerk shall be authorized to fill any vacancies in these positions which may occur prior to the date of the vote.
So moved.
These are all people that have previously done it, or they're new people?
Well, hold on, let's do the motion and then we'll ask questions hold on.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay.
No questions.
Now question.
Are these just all people returning to?
Some are returning, there are a couple of new ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you gotta sign up and do like a class
Yeah.
to get certified for it. It's not a training.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay, the BOCES administrative budget. Resolved, sorry, have to wait for this to, of course, it's not going to the resolution now. It's like hanging.
Just wing it.
Whereas the Board of Cooperative Educational Services of Putnam, Northern Westchester County, hereinafter BOCES, has proposed its tentative administrative budget for the 2025-2026 school year, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the BOCES tentative administrative budget for the 25-26 school year in the amount of $12,136,000 be approved, be and hereby is approved by the board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Election to the BOCES Board. Resolved that the two individuals listed below have been nominated as candidates to the BOCES Board to fill two vacancies for the term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. The Somers Central School District hereby approves the following candidates to fill the two vacancies. Frank Schnecker of Ossining and Tina Mackey of Putnam Valley. And I apologize if I killed anyone's names there.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Stipulation of agreement. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District hereby ratifies and approves the stipulation of agreement between the district and employee number 1814 dated April 7th, 2025, and hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute all documents pertaining to same and to take all actions consistent with the terms thereof.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Athletic mergers for 2025-2026. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District does hereby approve the team mergers listed below for the 25-26 season as per the merger applications. Varsity modified ice hockey, Somers, Brewster, North Salem, and Yorktown. The girls varsity swim team, it would be Somers and Yorktown. The boys varsity swim, Somers and Yorktown. And the girls varsity gymnastics, Somers, Hen Hud, John Jay, Cross River, Ossining, Pauline, and Yorktown.
So moved.
Second.
Before we do this, just to be clear, questions?
These are all existing.
These are all existing mergers that have gone on for the
These are not
past.
new.
These are not new, correct, Harry? Correct. Yeah.
But they have to be renewed.
They have to be
every
renewed each year.
Want to
And,
reiterate.
yeah, exactly. So I just want to be
Additional,
clear that
it's-
these are the ones that we typically do. These are teams consisting of a couple of kids from each school district. We wouldn't have any of these teams without these mergers amongst the school districts. And again, these have to happen every year. So if we're interested in them, and obviously we want to give all these kids a chance to play. All the merger statements are on our board docs if anyone wants to look into them and look at the letters of intent. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Team Tusker Mentors for 2024-2025. Resolved that upon, I'm going to probably mess up some people's names here, but resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District does hereby appoint the following volunteers assigned as mentors for the 24-25 school year for the district's mentoring program.
You can just say as listed.
As listed. Thank you, Nancy.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain? Okay. This brings us up to the policies first reading. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District does hereby accept the following new policies for a first reading. 2245, ex officio student member of the board, and 8113, extreme heat condition days.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so just so everyone knows, just as we've discussed last time at one of our meetings in the recent past, we have to have an ex officio student board member appointed by July 1st. So we've worked on procedures with the high school. This policy kind of puts forth what is recommended by NYSBA and our attorneys. And then the extreme heat condition days is also new, also something that came down from the state. Most of our learning spaces are air conditioned, but these are for those rare circumstances where it's an issue on those days. So if anyone has any comments, read them through, make them for our second reading at the next meeting, and we can probably approve them and make any changes. But if anyone has anything else to add to for it, now would be the time, I guess. Any other comments for it?
No, not right now. I mean, it's exciting to have a student board member
Yeah.
coming up. That'll be something new.
And I think what we're going to allow them to not have to come to our summer sessions, if I believe, right? So,
We have summer session?
Totally think they should be there. Totally think they should
Let
be
the
there.
students tell.
yeah, we still have to let them be
Come on
students.
in, you're in.
Okay. So, can we get we did the motion, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? All right, this brings us to our second public comment section of the night. Are there anybody here who would like to make a public comment? Okay. That brings us then to our final board comments.
Hi. Let's see. Thank you, Rachel, for your comments around the Finance Committee. That was really generous and thoughtful, and it was really nice to hear that. And, you know, and all those kudos to Chris. Let's see. I was sitting here. Somebody passed around the BOCE's report, annual report, and that was really interesting to read. So thank you, whoever left this for us to look at. And I am afraid I can't join you tomorrow for the tour, but I will definitely come to the next one. So thank you very much.
I know the budget always comes up, and every year I get a lot of questions about it. Are we getting, it's going up again, it's going up, costs are going up. Just overall, I know it's always a difficult subject, when it comes to people's money involved. And, I've seen it keeps raising, and in times as we see everything around us is. So, I know Chris puts in a lot of work to keep it as as cost efficient as possible. I just want to be, I've gotten a lot of questions, how regionalizations may affect us, issues with the baseball merger that we sort of got last minute put on the hook for this. I just, we want to consider the concerns from the community have been, that we don't want to get caught on the hook for other people's budgets if there's shortfalls there. And then that baseball thing that just came up, so we sort of had to bail them out and, subsidize their program. And that's been the big question with the regionalization. I know there's another meeting coming up that should clear all that stuff up. But, that's only been, that's some of the questions that have been brought up to me, and just wanted to bring that up here. But thank you.
Rachel, thank you for coming out to discuss with us. Appreciate that. Chris, thank you. Good job. Appreciate you. And thanks, Jimmy, for his student council update. Congratulations to them. They're doing an excellent job. That's it.
Also want to thank Rachel and the Citizens Finance Committee for assisting with the preparation of the budget, and their input is always very, very important, both for the annual budget but also this year for the bond project. Thanks, Chris, to you and your efforts for putting together everything, completing the budget cycle and pulling together the bond project, financing and all the information concerning that. I do want to encourage people to take a look at the budget. There'll be a public hearing 2 weeks from today. Rather than simply saying it, as Dawn points out, we can see it is going up, but there's reasons it's going up, and that's pretty clearly articulated, I think, in the documents, and I would urge people to take a look at that and come with questions if you've got questions about why certain things are included or not included, or why they're going up. I think we would like to have anyone who has questions, come and ask those questions. The budget is obviously something that's very important for the entire community, and I do want to make sure that people have an opportunity to read that and comment on that and make their views known, even at this stage. So I would encourage people to do that, and I look forward to that public hearing in a couple of weeks from today. And also thank you to Jimmy for his comments, and congratulations on the outstanding work that the student council is doing at the high school.
Yeah, the budget, definitely ask questions, take a look at it, dive in, however you need to. But remember too that getting to this point of the budget, it's not suddenly we have a document. This is built throughout the year. It's a process we go through every year, and it's an important thing to realize, and we have a lot of involvement. That's what I was mentioning earlier. A lot of involvement with community members, a lot of involvement with everyone throughout the district. And if you track our meetings through the year and how the budget builds, you can really understand how it gets to this point, and the programs that it's supporting. And we once in a while get to hop into the schools and see what all the investments that the community is making, how they're paying off, how they're affecting education for our children. And that's always with great appreciation, and we know it's not easy. We know our community contributes a lot to our district. And that's part of what public schools are about. We're here for all of the students in our community, and that's just a critical mission. that, we always appreciate the support. And I know if the district wasn't responsible, the community wouldn't be so supportive. So I always appreciate how we get to this point with a lot of thought. We can't fight inflation. How do we not increase our costs the same rate as inflation? We keep it down. It's not easy. And we can't do everything. And I think you look at the bond and where the bond had to end up to keep our, to keep things level, keep that green line level. That couldn't be everything that we wanted, but it reaches what's important and what matters. And there's a lot there that gets into the classroom enhancements to learning in addition to the upkeep of our infrastructure. So there's a lot that goes into it. Remember it when you go and look in these and hop back to prior meetings sometimes too. That can be really interesting then when you connect that to how we get to the budget. So thank you for leading us through that once again this year and getting us to a point of a budget and bond that we all are putting forth to the community. BOCES, yep. BOCES has some great services, and we're really fortunate that we have a pretty strong BOCES in Putnam, Northern Westchester, and a lot of great programs. There's a lot of our students that have great options there that we can't otherwise offer in our school. So that we are also supporting. That's all comes from our budget. Good luck to Jimmy G on the election. Very proud of you and a great representative of our students in our community. And thank you to, I just wanted the mentor volunteers. I am always proud that we've got this great mentoring program. And so thank you to the volunteers who step up. That's really important and impactful for our students. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to Jimmy and the student council again. That's wonderful news, and I wish him the best of luck in the upcoming election for that. Thank you, Rachel, for coming and speaking on behalf of the Citizens Finance Committee today. I'm on it with you, so I know how much time and wonderful feedback you always offer. So I appreciate you representing today and doing it, because it's always a good meeting to get that feedback from everyone. It really is. The budget, well done, Chris and the team again this year. The budget document is thorough, and I hope everyone will read it and ask questions when the document's made available tomorrow. It's like the digital format of this, basically. After tonight, I hope everyone will read it, ask questions when the document's made available, and all the budget presentations and videos of our meetings are available online under the Board of Ed tab. Again, as Chad was saying, it's a process that's led up to tonight. This wasn't something that was built in a day. There's a very thorough narrative in here on what we're investing in, and it goes through the curriculum and the professional learning and the student class sizes and how we're running it over. So it's well worth a read, in my opinion. The softball fields look absolutely fabulous. I was able to go last week. I joined Chris at the softball fields to see the girls take and win. John against what? John Jay Fishkill?
John Jay's Fishkill, yep.
It was a great game, but the field looks beautiful. The dugouts look even nicer. And the girls were really excited to play on it, I could tell. And it was so much fun to see the field transform over all this time and to see it come to fruition finally. So the regionalization stuff has been coming up. I am going to be posting a timeline. I'm having them post a timeline on our website, but basically just so it's out there. Again, these are things that were part of a conversation with the other component school districts. 15 of the 18 have opted in. Only 3 have opted out of the component school districts, and who knows, they might be in by the end of this. And basically, the superintendents and some of the board members have now identified some topics that we're looking at to potentially collaborate on and going forward in the future. We'll see. And we could I think the most important part of this is to note that based on the strengths and needs survey that's where they came up with these. I think the important thing is that participating in the planning process does not obligate us to do anything. We don't have to participate in anything if it doesn't look good to us going forward. Each district is going to determine on its own whether they want to do one thing, two things, none of it, all of it. It's up to them. It's up to us what we want to do and what's best for Somers. So I think that's probably the most important takeaway of it. And there's some stuff that could be worth a look, and there's some stuff that's definitely not going to apply to us. So. It's also an exciting week. Tomorrow night is the tour of this campus. I will be there. Hopefully we can address questions going forward, and the architects will be there. So they'll be able to also address even more questions than I would. But I always like to hear what everyone has to say so that we can make sure we're being proactive in answering what the community is wondering about. And then Thursday night is the second annual Tusker Cafe at 6 p.m. right downstairs in the SMS cafeteria. And this year, the Learning Office has partnered with the Social Emotional Wellness Advisory Committee, also known as CWAC, which I'm also on. And it's going to be talking about greater awareness of the physical health benefits when we better support our own mental health. And we've partnered with the town. And it's going to be, I think, a great event. So I hope to see some of you all there. So. That's all I have.
I'd also like to thank Jimmy for his presentation, and good luck in his race for a position on the National Board of Student Council again. Thank Rachel for her participation and in the Citizens Finance Committee and the presentation tonight. Chris, once again, a great job putting together the budget. Amanda reminded us about the events tomorrow night and Thursday night. It's open to all. There is a QR code on the information that was sent out. You can still register to participate in that.
There'll be food on Thursday night, too. That's important.
Right. There'll be food both nights. Heavy apps on Thursday, light refreshments tomorrow. That shouldn't be the reason for coming out, but if you do, we're glad to have you. I'm glad that people are asking questions. Tom mentioned that he's had questions asked about the budget and regionalization and mergers and things like that. The information is available to the public. As Amanda said, on our website, we have information on the budget, and tonight's presentation, including the full line-by-line item budget, will be available. There's information on the regionalization. It's been up there since our previous conversations, and new information will go up. I'm not sure how people are conflating the budget and regionalization, though. They're two totally separate things. Mergers, we approved a number of mergers tonight, or the board approved a number of mergers tonight for the next year. There were two others that were approved earlier in the year. One for this year for the baseball season, a few players from North Salem, and for the football program going forward in the fall. If there are questions about any of those issues, the information is available on the website. You can ask any of us. Chris mentioned the website. There's an email address specifically for questions about the budget. Reach out. Get the information from us. Get accurate information to questions you have on the budget, on regionalization, on mergers.
Okay. Resolved that the Board of Education, this regular meeting of the Board of Education be adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?